Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says European allies will deliver new energy and military aid within 10 days, ahead of the February 24 invasion anniversary. In a social media post, he said agreements were reached in Munich with leaders of the Berlin format. Talking about the scale of the attacks Ukraine has been enduring, Zelenskyy said Russia launched more than 1,000 drones and bombs in the past week alone. Russia's Black Sea port of Taman has been damaged in a Ukrainian drone strike. The governor of the Krasnodar region, Veniamin Kondratiev, said 2 people were injured after an oil storage tank, a warehouse, and terminal facilities were hit in the village of Volna, where the port is located. He added that more than 100 personnel were deployed to extinguish multiple fires at the site. At least 11 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes across the northern and southern Gaza Strip. Medics said an airstrike on a tent encampment sheltering displaced families killed at least 4 people. Health officials reported that another strike in Khan Younis in southern Gaza left 5 dead, and another person was shot dead in the north. Airstrikes also targeted what was thought to be an ally of Hamas in Tel al-Hawa neighborhood of Gaza City. Israel's military said the strikes were carried out in response to what it described as ceasefire violations by Hamas. The US military is preparing for the possibility of sustained, weeks-long operations against Iran should President Donald Trump order an attack. 2 US officials said the planning reflects the potential for a far more serious conflict than previously seen between the 2 countries. The development comes as diplomatic efforts between Washington and Tehran continue, raising the stakes for ongoing negotiations. Iran says it is open to compromises to reach a nuclear agreement with the United States if Washington is willing to discuss lifting sanctions. In an interview with the BBC, Deputy Foreign Minister Majid Takht Ravanchi said Tehran is prepared to consider limits on its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. However, he reiterated that Iran will not link the nuclear issue to other matters, including its missile program. US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have agreed that Washington should intensify efforts to curb Iran's oil sales to China. Citing 2 US officials briefed on the matter, a report by Axios said the agreement was reached during a White House meeting on Wednesday. A senior US official was quoted as saying the 2 leaders agreed to pursue maximum pressure on Iran, including targeting its oil exports to China. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen criticised US President Donald Trump's renewed interest in acquiring Greenland. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference, they called the pressure unacceptable and warned it could destabilise global security. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to begin a 2-day visit to Eastern Europe, aimed at strengthening ties with Slovakia and Hungary. Both countries are led by conservative governments that have maintained warm relations with President Donald Trump, despite tensions with other European Union members. The US State Department says Rubio will focus on energy cooperation and bilateral issues, including NATO commitments. The US Justice Department has sent a letter to lawmakers detailing redactions in files related to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. According to a report by Politico, the letter, required by law, provides a general description of the types of redactions made and includes a list of notable individuals mentioned in the documents. It also contains an extensive list of high-profile or politically exposed persons referenced in the files, even if they had no direct interaction with Epstein or his associate, Ghislaine Maxwell. The letter was sent to the leaders of the Senate and House Judiciary Committees and does not specify the context in which any names appear. Taiwan says China is the real threat to regional security, pushing back against remarks made by Beijing's top diplomat at the Munich Security Conference. Taiwan's Foreign Minister Lin Chia-lung accused China of hypocrisy, saying Beijing claims to uphold UN principles of peace while increasing pressure on Taiwan. China considers democratically governed Taiwan as its own territory, a claim the government in Taipei rejects, insisting that only the people of Taiwan can decide their future. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.